He is a financial educator, planner. Is there any other word that I could use to describe you, Sheldon? He is
Awesome.
awesome, right? He is amazing mentor and friend of mine, and I believe that anybody listening here is going to be able to take away something that they did not know before, and you're definitely going to want to sit down with Sheldon and learn more, okay? So today, please welcome Sheldon Bain. Introduce yourself and let us know what it is that you do.
Sure. Well, thanks, Alicia. My name is Sheldon Bain. I'm an executive vice president with a company called Five Rings Financial. And we have a model a little bit different than the other big guys out there. Our entire model is based off of education, right? Um, I don't know the last time anybody's ever sat down with a financial planner, an advisor, or somebody like that. I learned early on in my career that a lot of those people, not necessarily their fault, but they tend to talk over people quite a bit,
Mm.
right? It's just the vernacular in our industry that just makes it sound so intimidating and so scary. Well, what we try to do is we try to make it so that a fifth grader could understand, right? We try to teach principles and we try to do things so that everybody across the board can understand. I've always been a proponent of, if you don't understand exactly where and how your money's working for you, don't put it there.
Mm.
And that so often gets just brushed over, especially the middle class, upper middle class, the people that are very underserved when it comes to financial things. And really, it's honestly because we just don't understand. There's so many things out there that are so confusing. I just try to explain very simply everything that we can do to help people so that they get where their money's at.
That's awesome. So when you're talking about get where their money's at, are you talking just like their 401ks, Roths? What exactly are you talking about?
Yeah, so everything. Most people, unfortunately, are going to retire soon with just one thing, and that's their 401k and hopefully Social Security, depending on how old you are. Maybe it's there, maybe it's not.
Mhm.
And the hard reality is, I was actually just reading an article in Forbes a couple of months ago that the average person that retires with a 401k is going to last 7 years in their retirement. And so, what we try to teach our clients is that you need multiple buckets that are doing multiple things in order to achieve, the true retirement place. For me, one of the biggest concerns is taxes. And I always ask my clients, do you think taxes will be higher or lower when you get to retirement? I have yet to have one client say lower. Most of us
Right.
see the writing on the wall and we understand the problem that we're going to run into, but nobody knows how to save in that way. Nobody knows where to put money into those kind of accounts. Nobody really gets what that means and the ramifications of it. So we just try to break it down very simply and say, okay, here's a couple of different places. Here's a couple ideas that fit with you and your lifestyle, and this is what it can do. And we really just try to help cater to everybody's personal situation and make it make sense.
Right. And I love that because I've definitely been around other people where they feel like they can't even afford to save because these companies are trying to charge them so much more out of their budget, and they feel like, no, I'm just not going to do that, and they only keep their money in a bank. So
Yeah.
can you give us like a little tidbit as to if someone has maybe an extra $50 that they're saying, I could do $50. That means I won't buy Starbucks 5 times a week, right? Or maybe I'm getting an extra hour of work and I'm going to be able to have $50 extra on a paycheck. How can you help with that, Sheldon?
Yeah. So let me back that up for a second. A lot of companies, to your point, if you walk in with less than $500,000, they won't talk to you, right?
Ooh.
It's just not worth their time, which I can't stand.
Mhm.
My mentor taught me a long time ago that if I can't drive 5 hours to help somebody save $5,000, I don't deserve to drive 5 minutes to help somebody with 5 million.
Wow.
Right, and that stuck with me because it is. There's people out there that they need an answer, they need some help, and they might not have a lot, but that doesn't mean that they don't get the dignity of somebody wanting to help them. And
Right.
so even if it's the minimum that we can do is $25 a month into some kind of savings plan.
Mhm.
Now it's not going to grow that well depending on how long we're doing that for. My daughter has an account that we're doing about $50 a month for, and it's going to be great for her, but she's got 65 years of compound interest, right? um, but what I always tell people is, don't be scared of the amount that you may or may not have, right? You can always sit down and we can always talk about where you're at. We'll meet you where you are. And hopefully the plan will eventually get to the point where you are able to save a little bit more and do a little bit more. And we go through a full comprehensive look through in all of your financial everythings, right? Now, I'm only licensed in a couple of areas of money. I don't do P&C or health insurance or any of that stuff, but we'll look through all that with you. And we can refer you out and say, hey, go check this out. It looks like you're paying too much here. It looks like this might not be the best product for you that you're using. Let's maybe switch this. So we try to just look at every financial aspect of your life and figure out if there's a place that we can find money that you're just misspending.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how many times I'll sit down with clients and say, hey, we're living paycheck to paycheck here. And we'll just kind of go through and adjust the dial a little bit. And we'll find a couple $100s a month that they were already spending, but just in a wrong way. Right.
Wow.
So we will, that's what I like to do. I like to come up with a plan for somebody, a couple $100s a month, if that's where they can start, of money that they're already using, so that we don't have to come up with it. A budget is a lot like a diet. Most
Right.
people hear that and they don't like that. So if I can help free up money that's just being misallocated in other places, that's exactly what we try to do.
Right. So I was so blown away a couple years ago learning about what living benefits are. And so you mentioned, it's not PNC, it's not health insurance. So can you explain how life insurance has a bad stigma on people, right? Like, oh my God, I'm paying this and I don't even get to benefit from it. But explain how Five Rings Financial incorporates living benefits to help our clients now.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny. Life insurance has a stigma to a certain class, and that's our class, Alicia, right? That's the middle class, the upper middle class. We got this weird stigma.
Yeah.
Every time I sit down with my clients who are multimillionaires, they just want more because they understand the power of it, right? It's just interesting in that aspect. But life insurance for a long time, and I'll preface this with, when I started in the financial services industry, I didn't like it. Because I had that same stigma, right? If I'm paying into something, especially if it's term insurance, that unless I die early, I'm kind of wasting my money, if you will, to put it somewhere. So about 20 years ago, a company called National Life Group invented this thing called living benefits. And what it is whether it's a term policy or a permanent policy, right? Whole life, IULs, ULs, whatever, the death benefit can be accessed early. So if you have $1 million death benefit on a 20-year term policy and you get stage 3 thoracic cancer, right? We can file a claim with that, and they'll look at that and say, yep, that qualifies for $600,000 of accelerating this death benefit early. So while you're still alive, you can access this massive death benefit if necessary to help cover any of those medical issues. And that was kind of a game changer in our industry. Another statistic that I hate out there, it's about 68% of all bankruptcies are caused by medical emergencies that people could not recover from.
Wow.
And out of all those people that filed bankruptcy, about 90% of them had adequate health insurance, right? So yeah, you get cancer, a heart attack, or you're in a major car accident or something, you go to the hospital and your health insurance will cover most of your hospital expenses. But who's covering the mortgage? Who's covering all the bills? Who's covering, every bill that's due at the end of the month, every month? If you can't work anymore for 18 months because you're going through chemo, or you just had a heart attack or a stroke, who's covering those bills? Well, nobody, right? I joke with my clients, but unfortunately it's a sad reality we live in right now that GoFundMe is not a financial plan.
No.
And unfortunately, you always see GoFundMes now of people saying, my cousin has cancer, or my dad had a heart attack, or whatever, and we just financially can't recover from this. And that's not what GoFundMe was for. GoFundMe was invented for a bunch of small business guys to get together and help people that were inventors or trying to launch a product or something. And it's turned into about 95% of GoFundMe is people seeking out the kindness of strangers to help fund their financial crisis. And so living benefits for us, it's just been a huge aspect of our lives. When you sit down with a financial planner, if the first thing they're talking about is not life insurance, get up and leave. It's the bedrock to your financial plan. It's not sexy. It's not very fun. It's not, nobody likes thinking about it or talking about it, but you got to have the right things in place. And with living benefits, it doesn't cost any more than your typical death insurance, right? It's all baked into the policy. It's not an extra anything here or there. We'll compare apples to apples and say, hey, company A, you got 500,000 of death benefit only. With us, you got 500,000 with living benefits fully intact, and it's the same cost.
Wow.
People just don't know. So, it's our job to get out there and educate.
Okay. Well, you mentioned something that your daughter, and I believe she's only 4, right? She has a living benefits policy, or what kind of policy does she have?
Yeah. So she has something called $1 million baby policy.
Uh-oh.
Right?
Okay, let's talk about $1 million.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't want to get too much into any of this, but if she decides not to go to college someday, when she was born, we were talking about what are we going to do, right? There's UTMAs and UGMAs and 529 plans and all these other things for kids that you can put money into for saving. The one that we found that kind of is perfect for everything simply based on its flexibility is the one that she has, the $1 Million Baby Plan. And so it is a life insurance policy that we're paying into. I know all you Dave Ramsey people out there can freak out on me later, but it's a life insurance policy that does a couple of different things. First of all, it measures itself on the performance of the stock market. So it's not based on, the board of directors deciding what kind of dividend to give you every year or whatever. It's if the market's doing great, her account gets credited. If the market is down, she just stays where she's at, sits on the sidelines, wait, the market starts going up again, she starts going up again with it. What I like about it is versus all the other plans that are out there for kids, if she chooses not to go to college, she doesn't have to use it, right? With a 529 plan, typically, if you don't go to college to use it, there's all sorts of taxes and fees, and it's difficult to get out of there if it's not used for some kind of education. Now they are working on that a little bit, but it's still pretty restrictive. Uniform military or uniform minor trust accounts and uniform minor gift accounts, all these other things. There's all these stipulations around there.
Okay.
But with this one, it grows tax deferred and we can take it out tax free whenever we want. So if Riley does go to college, I think conservatively speaking, about $80,000 will be available to pay for college if we need to. If she doesn't, it will still continue to grow. And let's say she's in her 30s and gets married and wants to have a nice wedding or a down payment on a house or something, we can pull it out of there. And if Riley just keeps paying this until she's 65, eventually she'll get to the point where there'll be about $1.5 million in there completely tax-free for her retirement. And so when I'm talking to all of my clients about taxes, my kid doesn't have to worry about that.
So, okay, that's amazing information. And I know that we have people who either have a job and maybe can put away an extra $50. There's tons of people that have kids, and all of us are surely about to rest sometime 6 feet below the ground. So those are the 3 people that you say can be our clients, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So those are the people I can help most. People ask me all the time, and I joke. I said, well, they got to do 3 things. They either have to have kids, they're going to retire someday, or they're going to die. And if they're not in any 3 of those categories, we can't help them.
Right. So if you're out there and you're one of those 3 people, we would love to be able to give you more information on if you have a baby, let's make them $1 million baby. If you have some concerns about what's going to happen if I suddenly cannot wake up tomorrow, what's going to happen with the rest of my family, Sheldon is the person that we can sit down and get some answers, get you on a better plan now, so you don't have to worry about it later or leave it to somebody else's headache about what's going to happen with your debt. Sheldon, is there anything else that we missed that you might want to leave everybody with that says, hey, call me because we need to sit down and get you educated on this?
Yeah, again, back to, we do a lot more than just the life insurance side, but I'm very passionate about that. It's probably one of the most important pieces of your portfolio, like I said. And with the life insurance side, somebody told me once, it's just stuck with me forever as to why I kind of on this crusade to help people really understand where they're at and their needs and help them with the right policies. They said the life insurance is the last love letter that you're ever going to leave your family, right? Whether it's passing away in your sleep at 100 or tragically passing away early due to something else.
Right.
So I would say to everybody out there, this time of year, we're always concerned about, we got to get the best presents or, all these different things. The best gift that you can get your family is really making sure that they're protected, even from beyond the grave. So if you're not there to help them in any way, at least financially, you can leave them better off without you, I suppose, financially. It's morbid to think about, but that's, kind of the mindset to have. So that's what we're here to do. That's what we're here to serve and help with is just all those people out there who just say, you know what, I might have some questions. I don't know what my policy does. I don't know what this is doing. I don't know why I have this much. I don't have any, whatever it is. The first thing I'll do is sit down, we'll go over everything. And, if it's a good fit, we'll leave it there. If not, we'll come up with some answers for you.
Okay. So Sheldon, if someone was to take us up on this, where would be the best place to get in contact? Either a phone number, a website, email?
Yeah. So I prefer email is fine. So my email address is Sheldon, SHELDON .Bain, BAIN @5ringsfinancial.com.
Okay.
That's the best place. You can friend me on Facebook, private message me, whatever you want to do. You can reach out to Alicia. She knows how to get a hold of me as well.
Great. We'll have the link down below as well with this, but if you guys have any questions, don't be afraid to inbox me and we'll get you connected. You guys have a great rest of your holiday season. Sheldon, thank you so much for your time and
Of
appreciate you
course.
asking all these questions for all these people. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.